Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Najja Atutujani. We'll begin with financial matters. Stakeholders in the banking and finance industry have begun a two-day brainstorming session aimed at speeding up the process of recuperating the nation's economy for a prosperous future. President Muhammadu Buhari, who declared the conference open, promised that his administration would continue to engage with those who matter in the Nigeria project towards building a future-forward Nigerian nation. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Organized by the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, the conference, 14th in the series, focuses on economic recovery, inclusion and transformation, the role of banking and finance. Rwandan leader Paul Kagame delivered a virtual keynote address.
The banking sector, more than any other, understands the importance of integrity and good customer service. Banking is ultimately about trust. We look to you to set the pace in this regard. Our role as governments is to maintain good enabling environments.
Special guest of honor, President Muhammadu Buhari, saluted the banking and finance industry for its commitment towards charting a practical path for economic recovery and transformation of the country.
Let me reiterate that we are committed to lifting our people out of poverty and would continue to embark on initiatives that will ensure we achieve this laudable objective as we together build a future-forward Nigeria.
Already, the President explained the 5.01% GDP growth recorded by Nigeria, the highest rise since the fourth quarter of 2014, clearly indicates that the efforts of his administration at repositioning the economy is paying off. He, however, said beyond the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic to the future, there are bountiful opportunities that can be leveraged for sustainable economic growth.
As we continue to progress towards the next frontiers of digitization, we must harness all opportunities while being mindful of the inherent risks. Let me now alert that we are committed to enhancing the health and economic well-being of all Nigerians.
President Buhari enumerated, amongst others, the establishment of Infraco PLC, a world-class infrastructure development vehicle with a combined debt and equity take-off capital of 15 trillion naira, and the Solar Power Niger project aimed at delivering 5 million off-grid connections to Nigerian households as some of the various initiatives towards achieving the objective.
I am confident that the speakers that have been carefully selected to contribute to conference will share insights that will help individuals, businesses, and governments at all levels make necessary adjustments and take the right steps towards our collective resolve to position Nigeria as one of the top economies in the world.
The President commended the financial services industry for its intervention and contributions towards promoting financial inclusion as well as fostering economic growth of the country. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
To achieve inclusive growth and further drive the recovery process, the banking and financial sector must take the lead in complementing federal government's drive to promote sustainable growth and development. This position was put forward by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the 14th Banking and Finance Conference in Abuja. Musa Abubakar reports.
For 13 years, this gathering has provided the platform for banking and finance sector to exchange ideas and profile solutions to contemporary issues. This year, the focus is the economic recovery, inclusion, and transformation. With 5.01% gross domestic product recorded in second quarter of 2021, stakeholders were optimistic but remain concerned over unemployment rate and inflation. This gathering is resolute that the banking and financial sector, as a catalyst of economic growth, will help further drive the recovery process through inclusion of youths to achieve the much-needed transformation.
Our banking and financial sector to step up to the plate and play its part. And this sector has a large part to play. First, because we know that countries with well-developed financial systems experience faster economic growth and as such are better able to engineer accelerated exit out of poverty for many.
Continued implementation of interventions in the agricultural and manufacturing sectors, improved availability of COVID-19 vaccines, recovery in crude oil prices, along with a significant pickup in economic activities have led to a surge in our gross domestic product GDP output as our economy grew. Our banking sector remains well positioned to support the recovery efforts of the monetary and fiscal authorities.
There is also work to be done to ensure we meet targets regarding financial inclusion, infrastructural development, SME growth, and female equality.
More than ever before, within the banking industry and the financial institutions, to step up with new innovative financing mechanisms and solutions that will focus on marginalized and our vulnerables in different parts of our life.
Inputs from sessions on post-COVID-19 and opportunities amongst other contributions will form the next line of action to speed up the recovery process. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Away from financial matters, the president of the African Development Bank Group, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, has received the Leadership Person of the Year award from Leadership Newspaper Group in Nigeria. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo presented the award to Dr. Adesina, which was given in recognition of his impeccable public service record and extraordinary accomplishment in driving the growth and development of the African Development Bank Group. Meanwhile, the Senior Vice President of Leadership Group Limited, Azubike Ishekwene, made it known that in the past 5 years during which Adesina has presided over the African Development Bank, conscious effort has been made to rededicate the bank to its core philosophy of building today a better Africa for tomorrow. President Muhammadu Buhari has written to Senate seeking the consideration and passage of the Explosives Bill and the Small Arms and Light Weapons Bill 2021. The President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, read the executive communication shortly after the legislators resumed from their annual recess. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports.
Senators returning to the chamber after 2 months and 5 days recess, accompanied by the usual resumption greetings.
Distinguished colleagues, welcome back. Please take your seat.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, read 3 letters from the executive: the Explosives Bill, the Small Arms and Light Weapons Bill 2021, and the addendum to the 2018-2021 Federal Government External Borrowing Plan.
Total sum of USD American dollars 4,054,476,863 plus euro 710 million, and grant component of USD 125 million dollars. The Senate is kindly invited to note that the projects and programs in the borrowing plan were selected based on positive technical and economic evaluations and the contribution they would make to the socio-economic development of the country.
That was followed by a welcome speech by President of the Senate, who acknowledged presidential assent to the Petroleum Industry Act and called on the Implementation Committee to expedite action on its takeoff.
I want to take this opportunity to urge the Implementation Committee to expedite action so that our country will start to reap the benefits of the law.
He announced that the National Assembly is ready to receive and begin consideration of the 2022 appropriation bill.
Let me emphasize that the Senate, indeed the National Assembly, is prime and ready to receive and start work on the bill. That's the appropriation bill.
Senator Lawan also acknowledged the current achievements of security personnel in the fight against insecurity. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Still on National Assembly matters, the National Assembly is to harmonize and send out the Constitutional Amendment Bill by the end of October. Discussing the legislative agenda following the resumption of the National Assembly from its annual recess on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria, the lawmakers say they will subsequently take up the appropriation bill. Ekimini Williams reports.
The National Assembly is returning from its 2 months annual recess with a legislative agenda. And lawmakers who joined the program say the 2022 Appropriation Bill, Electoral Amendments Bill, and the Constitutional Amendments Bill will top the priority lists of issues to be addressed.
We are hopeful that the National Assembly will receive the Constitutional Amendment Bill, harmonize it, have a position, and send it out. But recall that that has to go to the state houses of assembly. But we intend to do our bit before the end of October.
The next stage for the electoral bill that we amend, the electoral act that we are amending is the conference committee. At the conference committee, some of the desires of Nigerians, which seems to be at varied position between the two chambers, will be looked at.
We see an inclination by both arms of government, the executive and the legislature, readily to provide these things. The last supplementary budget that they approved before they went, security sector funding was a huge part of it. So that is a good credit for them. But how are they performing oversight over these appropriations to ensure that this equipment that's budgeted for, they are procured and adequately so, to ensure that there's adequate capacity building for troops and for operatives. So I think these are areas they need to they need to up their game.
The lawmakers urged Nigerians to give the National Assembly the required support to discharge its constitutional duties effectively and efficiently for the good governance of the country. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
The atmosphere was somber on the first day of plenary at the House of Representatives as members mourned a late colleague, Representative Adedayo Omolafe, who died during the annual recess. Prayers were offered in honor of the lawmaker who died on the 15th of August 2021.
So rest in peace.
Plenary was suspended until Wednesday, as is the tradition. The Senate also suspended legislative activities in honor of the late member of the House of Representatives who represented Akure North and South Federal Constituency of Ondo State, observing a minute silence and praying for the repose of his soul. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. There will be more reports after the break. Thanks for staying tuned to Nationwide. The Office of the National Security Advisor has developed a protection plan for critical national information infrastructure through the implementation of the new National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy, NCPS 2021. A statement by the head Strategic Communications, Zakri Usman, indicates that the modality for the policy was discussed at the 7th meeting of the Cybercrime Advisory Council, chaired by the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Monguno in Abuja. The Council, as part of its mandate under the Cybercrime Act 2015, deliberated on the development of a protection plan and updated the modalities for the cybersecurity sensitization program for relevant sectors. The House of Representatives Committee on Defense has engaged the Minister of Defense in relation to a bilateral agreement signed between Nigeria and Russia on insecurity. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The engagement was initiated by the House to obtain details of the agreements
between the Nigerian government and the Russian Federation, and as it affects our fight against banditry, insurgency, and kidnapping, and all other vices we have in Nigeria, and also its implication on national security.
The meeting immediately went into closed door. The committee had earlier met with a delegation from the Nigeria Defense Academy over the 24th August security breach at the institution, which left 2 officers dead and 1 other abducted.
All the service chiefs and the chief of defense staff were all.
Normalcy is gradually returning to Kaba Security Custodial Center with the recovery of 114 inmates out of those who escaped during the recent attack on the center. The Deputy Controller General of Operations, Nigeria Correctional Service, Mohammed Tukur, gave the update while on assessment of the center. Rotimi Ebo has details.
The Custodial Center, as at the time of the recent attack, had 294 inmates. Deputy Controller General of Operation, Nigeria Correctional Service, Mohammed Tukur, while on assessment of the center, told NTA News off camera that 114 inmates had so far been recovered. Information available to NTA News revealed that about 180 inmates are being expected. The premises of the center is still under a tight security, while other paramilitary agencies have continued to pay visit to identify with officers and men of the center.
When they were firing there, no, it was not easy for us. They came to around some few minutes to 11, and they operated up to 3 o'clock. In fact, the kind of weapons that they use in that place threatened the community. And in fact, they located their security vehicle around the town, and it was hooting intermittently to scare people away. And in fact, it was not easy for us. The frontage of the prison correctional science service should be located at the back of the fence, so that nobody will know what is happening in that place. If it is possible, there should be CCTV camera in the premises.
From Kaba Security Custodial Center, Rotimi Ebo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Kogi State government has urged citizens and other well-meaning Nigerians to volunteer useful information which will ensure the apprehension of the masterminds of the attack on the Kaba Custodial Center by unidentified gunmen. A statement signed by the State Commissioner for Information, Kingsley Femi Fonwo, indicates that Governor Yahya Bello has expressed confidence in the ability of the security operatives to unmask the perpetrators of the attack. While affirming that many inmates have been rearrested, he says some have come back on their own volition. He urges traditional rulers and local hunters to work in synergy with security agencies to ensure normalcy. To speak further on the jailbreak at the Kaba Correctional Center is the Public Relations Officer, Nigerian Correctional Service, Francis Enobore. You're welcome to our studios.
Thank you very much.
Now, what is the situation at the Kaba Correctional Center presently?
Well, thank you very much once again for having me. Before I proceed and address the question you just asked, let me once again, on behalf of the Controller General of Corrections, Haliru Nambaba, MNI, express very deep condolences to the family members of the gallant colleagues that lost their lives in the encounter. What I can say is that their supreme sacrifice will never go in vain. The Honorable Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Ralph Arebashola, has thrown his weight behind the directive given by the Controller General to hunt the escaping inmates and those that perpetrated that dastardly act to the last man. That is as far as that is concerned. Now to address your question, presently we have a total of 114 inmates rearrested. And as I was coming into the studio, I got a further call that some other persons have been rearrested. The manhunt is ongoing. The directive has been given. We have activated our internal security and search and recapture mechanism to ensure that all the fleeing inmates are rearrested. And I also want to commend the efforts of our sister security agencies, including the local vigilante. They have actually been forthcoming to assist in the recapture of the fleeing inmates.
Now, what is the exact number of inmates who escaped and how many have returned?
Good. As at the time of the invasion, we had a total of 294 inmates in custody. Initially, when they broke into the facility, they forced all of them to go out. 28 resisted, they stayed back, leaving 266 that escaped. Gradually, few came back on their own, and when the manhunt was activated, we were able to rearrest more, and presently we have 114 rearrested. In total, we have 152 still at large now.
So that's kind of a situation. What is the Correctional Service doing about this?
Yes. I think the question just asked is of utmost concern to every Nigerian. Well, we have studied the pattern, and what we are now trying to do is to activate both kinetic and non-kinetic measures. Among the kinetic measures we are trying to put in place is first to increase the number of our presence on ground, to beef up the number of arm-bearing personnel, and also activate beefing up their equipment to be able to present formidable resistance anytime any such invasion occurs. A follow-up to that is training and retraining of our armed squad personnel. And we are also looking at the possibility of having a buffer area, well established around our custodial facilities. This buffer area will enable you to stand at a distance and take good position to profile whoever is coming into the center. The law, that is the Nigerian Correctional Service Act 2019, provides that each custodial center should have not less than 100 meters buffer area round. And if you have that and you have double fence, whoever crosses into the buffer area, you now know the person is an enemy. And then you'll be able to engage the person adequately with firepower. So those are some of the kinetic measures we are trying to put in place. If you permit me, I want to quickly add that the non-kinetic measures we will include synergizing with the NIMC, that is the National Identity Management Commission, to have the data of all our inmates secured. If you do that, just like we have done in Kogi, that's why we are asking those that are on the run to just come back on their own, whether they like it or not, or they will be fished out, because we have their biodata. So if we have the biodata of all our inmates across the country, synced with NIMC, if you like run, it means you will never transact any e-business, and I doubt if there's anybody in this modern age that will not transact any e-business. So these are some of the non-kinetic measures that we are putting in place, and of course appealing to chief executives to process those that are awaiting trial. Recall that when that of Kogi happened, we had 294, like I said. 224 of them were awaiting trial. That of Imo, when it happened, we had 1,881 inmates in custody. 1,693 were awaiting trial. So there is this trend, the agitation among those that are awaiting trial to leave custody at all costs, whether by hook or crook means. So we are looking at the possibility of pruning down the number of those that are awaiting trial, so that tension within the yard will be reduced. Then those that are convicted of whatever crime, the Controller General has the power to take them to a more commodious environment, secure the environment where we can handle them. So these are some of the measures we are trying to put in place.
Now, finally, in addition to these measures to recover these inmates who are still at large, and also to prevent further incidents such as these. Recall we've had an incident in Kotankarfi and also in Kaba. What role is expected of the host community and citizens, briefly?
Thank you. We keep appealing and will still keep appealing to members of the public, the host community. Let them assist with useful intelligence that will lead to the rearrest of these criminals, because some of them are very dangerous. It doesn't pay you to harbor any of them. They can harm you, and apart from that, you know it's against the law for you to harbor any person on the run. And let me quickly add that it's unfortunate that these developments are coming up this time around, that we are beginning to see the light of the day. Still, a correction a system that everybody dreamed of being put in place. A couple of weeks back, we had a presentation of starter packs to inmates, the ex-convicts that were trained in sundry vocations. And in educational opportunity given to inmates, we now have inmates within the custody reading for different degrees. Some are doing their PhD. So if the society will just be patient to
I'm afraid I'm going to have to cut you off there. Thank you very much, Francis Nobore, PRO, Correctional Service. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has felicitated with a consummate author, journalist, poet, photographer, and Pan-Africanist, Lindsay Barrett, as he turns 80. Jamaica-born Barrett took on Nigerian citizenship in the 1980s, and the president recalls meeting him on the war front in 1968 while he covered the Nigeria-Biafra War as a journalist. He salutes his 6 decades commitment to creative writing and journalism, urging the younger generation to learn from his doggedness. Adiola is standing by in Lagos.
Thank you, Najatu. Experts in the technology sector are brainstorming on ways to devise the most efficient and transparent technologies in spectrum management, regarded as a potential source of revenue for government and a tool for defense and national security. Issues surrounding the 5G technology was also at the front burner of the 5-day training program on masterclass for spectrum managers in Lagos.
In this hall are executive officers of government and private organizations and companies. They are here to find the best ways to ensure equitable distribution and management of spectrum, otherwise known as frequencies, because the demand from users is on the increase. Executive Secretary, Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, Bonn, represented by the Executive Director, Engineering of the NTA, Dr. Stephen Moses Okpanachi, speaks on the relevance of the masterclass in spectrum management.
As part of our organizations, many of our broadcasters use the spectrum, and I'm happy that for the whole 5 days, we'll be talking about spectrum management, because it's the spectrum that we utilize to get across to our listeners and indeed our viewers across Nigeria.
Experts in their various remarks at the opening of the 5-day program affirmed that the technology industry is a huge revenue source for government.
Spectrum is the oxygen of today's ICT world. And because of the scarcity of spectrum, there's a need to have a competent body to manage it for efficiency.
If spectrum is not well managed, we lose so many things. We lose money, we lose time, and we lose cohesion in area of communication.
And considering the high cost of doing business, as managers of frequency resources, we expect that participants who will leave this forum will go with the knowledge of how best to utilize those resources with a view to optimizing SIM.
As technology continues to evolve and reshape the world, there is therefore the need to adapt to the changes to solve problems and make the world a better place.
To a Lagosian, Lagos is a land of great opportunities. Little wonder it experiences great influx of people daily. However, the city in recent times has been bedeviled by series of cult activities, thereby putting its residents in perpetual fear. Annie Daniels has details.
Ojota is a very popular part of Lagos. Every visitor into Lagos by road will surely go through Ojota, thereby making the area a business hub. However, The area in recent times has been in the news for the wrong reasons as a result of cult activities.
We just hear, they start to hear gong, we don't know how they get the gong.
12-year-old Michael is not oblivious of cult activities in Ojota. He and others like him reel out their fears.
And some of them, after killing themselves, their mother will start crying.
So once the night is falling like this, anything can happen. And once it happens, everybody will be on run.
They will use the opportunity to steal some people properties.
Ojota residents now have their ears to the ground, knowing the boys can strike at any moment.
As you are talking to me now, you will be checking your back. You will be looking at, is somebody coming?
Like Ojota, Iwaya, Makoko and other parts of Lagos are not left out. Cultists are on rampage.
We don't normally sleep well because every day, every night, we just hear some guns.
Most of them came outside this neighborhood to commit this crime, and once it gets out of hand, they flee.
He's a rusticated student of Kwara State University.
John Jide, not real name, is a cultist in possession of dangerous arms. He was arrested and paraded by the Lagos State Police Command.
I've not done anything with the gun. I just keep it with me. Then I saw it, then arrest me.
To live up to expectations, the Lagos State Police Command has deployed vehicles and its personnel to these troubled areas.
But when they come, they mingle with us, they hang around like every other person, and I'm sure that by doing so, they will gather information, know where these boys hang out, know where they plan to carry out their activities, and nip it in the bud before anything happens.
In Lagos, Ami Daniels, NTA News.
That's it from Lagos for now. Najatu, it's back to you.
Thank you, Adiola. To judicial matters now, the Court of Appeal has indicated its resolve to nip in the bud unethical practices among its judicial officers. The president of the court, Justice Monica Dongban-Mensem, gave the indication at the commencement of the 2021 legal year of the Appellate Court. Olabode Arewa reports.
This inspection of a parade of colors mounted in honor of the President's Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongban-Mensem, and other justices signals the commencement of the 2021 legal year at the Appellate Courts. And with the ceremonies over, the important business of the day begins. Firing the first shot, the President of the Court of Appeal outlines successes recorded by the various divisions of the courts in the last legal year, despite challenges posed by COVID-19.
This week, the court will conduct special sittings of justices to help us further deconject the Abuja division and enhance its optimal functionality.
Touching on the uproar generated by the recent ex parte orders granted by some courts, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, SAN, admonishes judicial officers to ensure their actions deepen public confidence in the judiciary.
I respectfully urge my lords to maintain the sanctity and credibility of the court and to ensure that the sacred integrity reposed on your lordships remains unshaken.
When we talk about judges, let's also talk about we lawyers who carry these matters to court because we've been paid to do these matters.
In the last legal year, 5,092 appeals were entertained across the 20 divisions of the appellate courts. Out of these, 3,111 appeals were disposed of. Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Similarly, the National Human Rights Commission is charting a new course in enhancing access to justice for all in the country. This was made known at a retreat organized by the Commission for its management and members of the 5th Governing Council. The report.
Just like the popular saying, it is better to hit the iron when it is hot to get the desired shape. Same apply to the newly appointed members of the 5th Governing Council of the Human Rights Commission. Now that they are burning with the zeal to embark on their new assignment, it makes a perfect time to engage them in a retreat like this to introduce them to their responsibilities and scope of the task ahead. Why the plight of Nigerians has come into focus regarding abuse of human rights, it has become crucial for the Commission and stakeholders to explore viable solutions towards bringing justice in the society.
I hope to leave the Commission better than we have met it in terms of protection of human rights of all Nigerians and those living in Nigeria.
It's an opportunity to interact for interaction between the Governing Council and all levels of human rights promotion, both at the African level and both at the global level.
For the Commission to function optimally, stakeholders are of the opinion that there is need to increase funding for the Commission.
As the need for human rights abuses deepen, the need for the Commission to be properly funded also becomes more compelling.
We'll be determining policies, putting in place policies that would help to respect human rights.
With the new governing council after the dissolution of the last one in 2016, it is expected that the Commission can now carry out enforcement and enlightenment across the country with ease.
Let's now join Tipa Barry in Port Harcourt for more on Nationwide.
And welcome to Port Harcourt. River State Governor Nyesom Wike has ordered the demolition of shanties where counterfeit bottled water, carbonated soft drink and alcoholic beverages are produced at Mpogo within 48 hours. This followed a credible intelligence report received by the governor about some criminal networks operating in the area. Ogedinkwe completes the report.
This expanse of land littered with empty cans of different brands of used bottled water, carbonated soft drinks, alcoholic beverages, as well as shanties and illegal structures is located at Mpogo within Port Harcourt metropolis. Intelligence report has it that some criminal networks are involved in counterfeiting products and carrying out other nefarious activities in the area.
Port Harcourt is known to be a garden city, not a garbage city. And for anybody to tell me that we governor and say this kind of a thing happen inside Port Harcourt metropolis is unacceptable to me.
He bemoaned the unhygienic environment littered with refuse and bagged used cans of bottled water and carbonated soft drinks, saying that unsuspecting persons have been afflicted with deadly diseases after innocently purchasing these fake products produced by these miscreants. The governor reiterated that his administration would not relent in ridding the state of every traceable hideout for criminals. He said the recent demolitions carried out by the state government have helped in reducing the level of crime in the state. The governor also inspected the ongoing work at Orochiriworuko and Mbolu Oroworuko flyovers and stated that corrections and adjustments in the construction plans have been effected. In Port Harcourt, Ogedinkwe, NTA News.
To mitigate effects of global warming, the need for awareness creation amongst the rural populace and the citizenry in the conservation of the ecosystem is the reason for the visit of the Director General UNESCO to the Urban Biosphere Reserve in Cross River State. Odei Oleyon reports that the Director General UNESCO, Audrey Azole, was in Nsan community where the reserve is located.
The Urban Biosphere Reserve, located at Urban Division of Cross River National Park, is about 3,000 square kilometers with high concentrated biodiversity, ecologically bounded by Korob National Park in the Republic of Cameroon. Director General UNESCO, Ms. Andre Azoli, is here at the reserve to enlighten the host community on the need to have a better knowledge of biosphere in ecosystem and on how they can be empowered through alternative source of livelihood.
We are starting to discussing with the local communities how we can provide something else in replacement of these illegal activities, so that they find an interest to do sustainable activity.
Stakeholders in the biodiversity and environmental sector have on the challenges and need to protect biosphere reserves in their areas so as to be part of the accruing benefits.
And we cannot achieve any of this biodiversity conservation
conservation, sustainable use of the land without working closely with you.
And the only way to contend with that is the solution that UNESCO is providing, to empower the people who are doing or who are threatening the ecosystem.
The Conservator General National Park Service, Ibrahim Musa Goni, is happy for the approval of the Oban and Okwango Biosphere Reserves, all in Cross River State by UNESCO.
With Nigeria becoming a member and even having an ambassador at UNESCO, Nigeria has been able to make case for additional biosphere reserve.
A chieftaincy title of Ntunkai Ibrahim, meaning Mother of Life, was conferred on the Director General UNESCO, Aldred Azule, by the Royal Authority of the Unsan Community in Calabar, Ode Alenyo.
And as our beat from Port Harcourt is back to Nigeria for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Good evening and welcome back to our Abuja studios. 3 bodies have been recovered by the FCT Emergency Operations following a flood disaster at Trademore Estate in Lugbe on Sunday night after heavy rainfall in parts of the Federal Capital Territory. Ilyasu Onotu Yakubu reports.
The search and rescue operation began at about 9 p.m. on the said day as the flood disaster ravaged the entire estate. By 7 a.m., information filtered in that a body was trapped in a vehicle under the river just a couple of 100 meters away from the estate. After about an hour operation, the body was retrieved from the wreckage of the vehicle. 2 other bodies were also said to have been recovered from the riverbank by families of the victims.
The number of houses affected this year are more than the ones that were affected last year. And last year we had only 1 casualty. This year we have 3 so far. We don't know. We are yet to announce in the estate so that if there's anyone who has not seen a member of his or her family, they should report to the police station so we can continue with the search.
If people should adhere to simple advice and warnings, we won't have much casualties.
The number of houses and vehicles affected in the disaster could not be ascertained yet, as the FCT Directorate of Development Control attributed the disaster to outright violation of Development Master Plan by the developers.
Last year when we had the flood issue here, we came, we mapped, we looked at the hydrology analysis, and we found out that some houses were sitting on waterways. If you watch around that bridge and so on, houses were actually marked.
There's no owner of any house here, or houses, or residents, who actually built any of these houses. The houses were built and sold to us. And as far as we're concerned, approval must have been given.
As at the time of filing this report, the operation is still ongoing by the FEMA Search and Rescue Team to trace more bodies that may not have been accounted for. Ilyasu Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
And now let's join our JOS Network Center. Zenret is our guide.
Welcome to JOS and thank you, Najatu. Plateau State Government is committed to providing veritable platforms for youth to thrive through creation of jobs and robust skills empowerment programs. Governor Simon Lalong stated this at the inauguration of the new executive members of the Plateau State Youth Council in Jos. Priscilla Grumnan reports.
The new exco of the Plateau State Youth Council is taking over mantle of leadership to oversee affairs of the council for the next 3 years. For them, the council, which is an umbrella body of all youth bodies in the state, offers them the voice to be at the forefront of advancement in society. They particularly commended Governor Simon Lalong for his administration's strides in giving the youth their rightful place.
We need to be united irrespective of our ethnic backgrounds, religious inclinations, or political affiliations. Our unity can only be triggered by action.
The central message to the youth by Governor Lalong is for them to be vanguard of peace, as this is the time the state needs their unity, vibrancy, and support to make progress.
You have a duty to protect the rich history of productivity, excellence, courage, love, hospitality, and tolerance for which Plateau State is known for. This is your time to raise the bar and make us proud.
Commissioner for Youth and Sports commended the state government for believing in the youth and ensuring they are carried along in all strata of governance. Goodwill messages came from the outgone chairman of the PYC and chairman of the PYC larger house, where they emphasized the need to foster greater unity among Plateau youth. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Ibrahim Ali, has asked the Joint Peace Committee to identify major causes of clashes in Jos North, Jos South and Basa local government areas and come up with possible suggestions that will bring lasting peace to the areas. He gave the charge while inaugurating the committee in Jos. Indian and Abuja has details.
Jos North, Jos South and Basa local government areas were in recent times engulfed with attacks and counterattacks which led to wanton destruction of lives and property. Worried by this ugly situation, stakeholders in the peace-building process conceived the idea of this committee with the hope of achieving lasting and sustainable peace in the state, particularly the 3 local government areas. The committee is saddled with the responsibility of making appropriate recommendations that will assist the Operation Safe Haven and the state government to find lasting solutions to the incessant clashes amongst the various tribes in the affected communities.
I therefore urge you to be impartial, neutral, honest, upright, and devoid of compromise and sentiment in the discharge of this enormous responsibility bestowed on you. You are expected to complete and submit a comprehensive report within 2 weeks.
We are going to strategize our activities so that everybody that is in any community will be seen to participate in this work.
Members of the committee were carefully selected based on their pedigree as sustainable peace builders, commitment, loyalty, and service to humanity. In Jos, Indian and the Abuja, NTA News.
That's it from Jos. Nationwide continues with Landway in Ibadan, but after this break.
Staying tuned and welcome to Ibadan. Containing the spread of infectious diseases and COVID-19 requires the availability of clean and hygienic water for the populace. Minister of State for Agriculture and Rural Development, Mustafa Baba Shehuri, observed these while interacting with borehole practitioners from across the country in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Correspondent Oyeyinka Omole reports.
With the recent outbreak of cholera in some states in Nigeria and the ravaging COVID-19, the Minister of State for Agriculture and Rural Development, who was represented, charged borehole practitioners on the provision of potable water to enable the people observe safety protocols and boost productivity.
In the scheme of the federal government's plan, you are therefore advised to partner with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development so that in the long run, most of the inevitable drilling projects from the ministry might be handled by your members across the nation.
Emphasis was laid on the proper regulation of borehole drilling in the country to guard against quackery, which has devastating effects on the environment and the quality of water.
You should drop a coin in the bucket where you have potable water and be able to receive visibly. But if the turbidity is high, it will be brackish in nature.
Because those people in the rural area, they don't have available safety water from the water works. And the alternative for them is to have this borehole.
And it's better for us to see a way to mitigate against this cholera infection. And that's why we are looking at the issue of the root causes, which part of it is haphazard drilling of boreholes and drilling of boreholes by non-professional.
Groundwater explorers from 26 states across the Federation were encouraged to be up and doing in the delivery of their services to prevent failed borehole projects in Ibadan. Oyeyinka Omole, NTA News.
Kwara State government has flagged off the 6th edition of the National Immunization Coverage Survey in the state aimed at providing current data on women and children in the state. The program, which is a collaboration among Kwara State Bureau of Statistics, National Bureau of Statistics, UNICEF and National Primary Health Care Development Agency, will take place across the 16 local government areas of the state. Damilola Balogun Elebio reports.
Getting accurate data to ensure vaccines and other various government programs and policies get to the grassroots was the reason for this gathering of Kwara State Bureau of Statistics and other development partners. The state government is convinced the flag off will set the pace for accuracy in generating required statistics, particularly in the remote villages.
Unless you have, real statistical data, to determine how many and how much should be going to which particular community and so on and so forth.
This engagement, if successfully executed, will go a long way in increasing the quantum and quality of data and statistics needed in decision-making.
Participants at the flag-off ceremony believe failure to use data and statistics previously as retarded government policies, making it difficult to achieve inclusive policy, proper revenue generation, and improved governance.
Some of the objectives in this round of the survey, which are provided up-to-date information on the situation of women and children as well as men.
The program was attended by officials of National Bureau of Statistics and 16 TIC chairmen in the state. Damilola Balogun Elebio, NTA News.
Let's now rejoin Najatu in an Abuja studio for continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Larry. Actually, we're wrapping up as that report concludes Nationwide. Thanks for watching, and do remember to keep standing with the Nigerian Television Authority in the fight against rape and rapists.